Welcome back, everyone, to the Working Class Revolt. And today I want to talk about a story in which the government have pledged £117 million to protect Muslims at the mosques and Muslim schools. But at the same time, they are going to cut funding to the Church of England by 50%. And in today's video, I want to discuss why I think the government are really doing this. I want to discuss why the government, I should say, are doing this. What's the reasons for it? And I want you to please let me know in the comment section whether you agree with what I believe. So first of all, let's take a look at what the government are saying. And let's take a look at some of the background work that has been put in place to come up with this decision. So first of all, they're basing their argument that mosques and Muslim schools need more money on what happened after the incident in Southport. They're claiming because people who was very angry made some wrong decisions, that was an attack on Islam, and that now the government must step up to protect them. Now, we all know what happened in Southport and how horrendous it was, and we all saw the rioting take place afterwards. Many of those people was peacefully protesting, and then there was some people who, let's be honest, did criminal acts for it. So to say that shows that there is a hatred for Islam in this country and they must be protected doesn't quite weigh up to me. What that incident says to me is that something horrific happened. The correct information wasn't out there, and there were certain people that acted very, very wrong, and they broke the law. I'm talking about incidences where there was a migrant hotel set on fire. But again, was that really to do with Islam, or was that people believing it was an illegal migrant who'd done them horrific actions? So to me, it doesn't quite weigh up. So I'm going to tell you what I believe is the real reason that this UK Labour, in my opinion, again, communist government, are doing this for. So set your minds back to the last general election. We saw 5 or 6, I think it was, independents get elected to Parliament, and these was left-wing independents who was standing on a platform of pro-Palestine, anti-Israel, and saying that the Labour at the time opposition was not saying enough on behalf of Palestine. So instead, the voters, the Muslim vote and some of the left-wing vote went to the independent, and the Labour Party lost seats. But there was many more areas where the independent came very, very close second. And if the general election was rerun today, they would actually beat the Labour Party. Now let's take a look at George Galloway, who won a by-election only a few months before the July general election. Again, George ran on the pro-Palestine, anti-Labour ticket, and it worked. George Galloway won the by-election. So the Labour Party is desperate to keep hold of this vote. It is desperate to have the vote of the Muslims. So it will say and do anything in order to keep their support. And again, this is why I think it is making the announcement that it is cutting funding from the Church of England. That is another way of saying, look, we're here for you. And we've got a quote by the Prime Minister in the Sky News online paper, what says, "We stand with Muslims. We want you to know that you'll be safe in this country." You will never hear the Prime Minister say the same thing for Christians, for instance, or anything else where people in this country are prominently white. So that's the reason I think this sinister decision has been made. Do I believe that mosques on a daily basis are under any threat? The truthful answer is I don't believe that's the case. Is there isolated attacks? Of course there is. But the Jewish community have also seen that. And now we have a ceasefire and hopefully an end coming to the war in Palestine and Israel. But there's also one other reason that I think they've made this decision, and that is the civil service. So we saw last week a report come out, which was done by the Home Office following what happened in Southport, where the Home Office made some quite frightening remarks in this report. And one of them was, it said there are alleged grooming gangs. Now, there's nothing alleged about the grooming gangs, but that's what the civil servants think. There is alleged grooming gangs. And then it went on to say that anybody saying this is far right. It also then went on to say that anybody that believes there's a two-tier justice system, again, is far right extremists. And it basically made out that anybody with what it deems as far right is basically a terrorist. So there is an ideology going around in Westminster and amongst the civil service that anybody with views slightly to the right is an extremist, and anybody on the left or anybody of any other religion is right and needs protecting. Funnily enough, in that report, it barely mentioned the grooming gangs coming from an Islamic background. I think the majority was a Pakistani background. It more went on about people who have anti this government's views and claimed that they're somehow a terrorist. So that's the ideology that is going on with the British government and its civil servants. And it seems like it's going to attack anything which is the opposite to that. And that is where Christianity falls. So many people, although Christianity has fell, and especially faith in the Church of England have fell, there are still a lot of white British people who identify as Christians. And for some reason, the left loves these people. It loves Christianity, although our government serves the king who is the head of the Church of England. But don't forget that this is the king who said he will be the king of all religions. But please let me know what you think in the comment section. Do you, like me, think this is nothing more than the Labour Party desperately trying to keep hold of the Muslim vote, at the same time showing its absolute detest for anything that isn't left? Thank you all for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.